Alright, yo, what is up guys? We are back with another Project Architect 2 video. Today I believe is episode 8, and as you can see up in the top left, we have 5.7 million EMC, and let's dive into exactly how we have that. So we can take a look at our farm. So we have our iron farm here that is almost completely automated. That makes pretty fast ender pearls, which give a decent amount of EMC. And then if we come down over here, we have our mob farm, which is generating a bunch of different things. Put that in there. But it's also making diamonds, which at a decent rate, not super crazy. And then if we come down here into our main base, which I did change around a little bit, you can see that we have this automatic sand to soul sand farm, which if we take this condensed, which I did upgrade condensed blocks, which all I did is put it in a compacting drawer, this is worth 254,000. So right then there, that bumped us up to 6 million, but it's not fully automated. None of those are fully automated. Those are not pushing directly into the system at all. But what we can make today, this is the plan for the day, we're going to make the basic EMC link. And then we also are going to dive into create and wireless, because we're going to want more power, which we are going to get into the power mod today, which I would like to just dive into this, which will be fun, but we want more lava to be able to do so. So we're going to want to set up infinite lava. But to make the basic thing right here, we can actually go up to our home. These are probably the fastest way for us to craft everything. So if we go back up here, we can go into our crafting area. But we'll need to craft, so we'll need transportation tablets, which take this, which we can make 2 of those, because we're going to need 2 of them. And then we need to craft them into this, which take dark matter blocks. So do we have dark matter, so we need 8 dark matter blocks, which is 4 dark matter, so we need, that's 1, 2, which we don't gotta do it this way actually. We can just make 1, like so, which is 557,000. We can learn that, and we need 8 of these. Hefty craft, that just took about, it's 4.45 million right there, because I believe we need 2 of those, which we do. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to craft 1 of them, right? We're going to craft 1 like so, and we can toss those into our system. So we're going to need 2 of these. So this is at 1.64 million. We're going to need some dusts. We're going to need 2 of each. And then we are going to need an energy condenser, which we have 1 right there. And then now if we go into here and we craft this, it is going to be a EMC link. And let's make sure we learn this real quick. Nice, we learned it. That's worth 4.49 million. If we go into our Project E, we can claim this loot bag, which is going to give us the transmutation interface, which if we learn this, we toss it in there, that bumps us up to 1 billion. That's actually insane. Because I believe what we can do with this, if we toss this right here, we might be able to, I will have to look how you can filter status enabled. So I know this is connected to that, but it's not connected. We might have to put a storage bus on this. Changes everything. Changes absolutely everything. Wait. Oh no, it does have us. I think that just allowed us EMC. We have So I think that just gave us access to everything. I don't know why we'd have 32 of these just sitting in here. Okay, no, it did not give us access to everything. So we're gonna have to learn how to set this up. But this transmutation will allow for us to, oh, it says sneak right click with an item, will learn it but won't consume it, does not work with Tome of Knowledge. This will allow us to use our applied energistic system with our transmutation table. Can we just put it on there? I'm gonna do some research and I'll be right back. All right, so after doing some research, I believe we just need to put a storage bus, which we should be able to craft pretty easily. So we'll grab a piston, and we need to make a interface like so, and we should be able to craft one of these. And I believe if we put this up top like that, and then take this, put that there, this should give us, yeah, it gives us complete access to our system, which is absolutely insane because that means that we can just do all of our auto crafting straight from there. So that's actually huge. It's actually huge. So now we basically have somewhat of unlimited storage because anything we put in here, I believe now, so like we can get rid of this. And when we toss this in here, that'll put our up our EMC. So that's absolutely amazing. And that's like a very rare chance of getting that. So that's huge. It's actually going to become super helpful when we get into auto crafting. Not auto craft. Well, yes, auto crafting, but our wireless. But so like now that we're here, so what this EMC link does, which what we can do is I believe, so we have this right here. Take this and then grab some sand. And so this learned sand. And so this will pull sand out. I think you can do it once every second, which is very slow. But what I believe I can do is, so if I take this distribution module and I right click there, it'll pull in one sand. So this will automatically be pulling sand when it can out of this. And then now all I need to do is, I believe, send the soul sand back into another one, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm wondering if I take this and send that there. Yep, we have our EMC going up slowly but surely. For plus 48 EMC a second. The only issue with this is the speed at which this does that. But now, since we do technically have, once we set up wireless power, we can just have this stuff being sent straight into an interface, and then we don't have to worry about the limits of these, which is absolutely insane. So let's dive right into that. So to set up wireless, we are going to need a wireless crafting terminal, but before we need that, we are going to need a wireless booster. So let's go back up to our base. Alright, and to make a wireless booster, we just need some ender dust, which can be made into the subscriber with some ender pearls. Let's grab our ender pearls, and is it ender dust? Let's see what ender dust in a inscriber. Just make 5 of those real quick. Is this learnable? I don't know if that's learnable, but we can make our wireless booster, so we have that. We need a wireless access point, which we're going to need one of these, which is, how do you get flux dust? So we need fluix. Grab a stack of that. Throw those in there. Alright. And we have everything else. We just need to make the flux pearl, which is going to take 3 dust. Which we're going to need more dust, so I'm just going to let this run. So we need to make the flux pearl. Done. Which doesn't have an EMC value. Interesting. So if we go cable, well, that's not called cable, that is, so. Says shift, right click, right click, and that should learn the item. Says sneak plus right click on another cube to replace them. Okay, put on this. Grab our tab. All right, let's make a table. Just make one of these just for right now. So now that's learned. So if we go cable, okay, nice. Okay, and so we need, did we make one of those? No. But we can learn this. There's supposed to be a way that we can learn it easier, but so we can make a ME wireless access point. Now if we put this anywhere on here, put our cards in, now this gives us 18 meters, which there has to be a way to make better ones of a wireless booster. Wireless booster, ME wireless connector from extended AE. Okay, that's for the wireless. So let's go back into the AE and then go into. Okay, after looking into it, to get cross-dimensional, you actually need to set up a bunch more way in the future. So currently, where it's not really an accessibility for us to do so. So we're not gonna worry about it. You do like a quantum tangle porter type deal. So it's gonna take a while to get there, but we will get there. So don't stress. Just as of right now, we are not going to, which is not a big deal. But we can craft this other wireless receiver, and then we need our crafting terminal, which takes one of these. Let's take that. So we need to get some gold. We don't have any smelted up. Oh, we have some right there. Nice. We need our logic press. And we need to get that going because we need to craft one of these, which takes a few circuits that we don't have. We need to craft annihilation core. We don't have the logic circuit for. We have silicone. Check to see if we have silicone. We do have some silicone. We need some redstone. Let's grab some redstone. And we'll need our gold, which we have 4. We'll get 6, and that should be good. And to craft this, so we need the calculation process, which we already have. And then we also need, we're gonna need one more calculation. How many calculations do we have? We have 3, so that's gonna work. And so now to craft these and to craft these, I need one more logic right there. Craft one of those. And now we need a crafting table. And now we have a crafting terminal. So there's those 2 out of the way. Now we just need our dense energy cell, which we can make this, which is, we need 8 of these, like that, which energy, don't know if we have to learn those. And then we can make our dense energy cell, and then we should be able to make our wireless crafting unit. And when we put this in here, like so, that'll link it, and then we can charge this up right here, which is 1.6 million, so that's going to last a while. We shouldn't have to worry about that. There's a bunch of other different ways of storing stuff that we can use to make our lives a little bit easier. But with the EMC value, we shouldn't have to really worry about too much. So now we have wireless crafting. Make our life a little bit easier. I don't know how far this is going to travel. I love the fact that we have 48 a second going into our system. So it looks like we're out of range. I believe this can only go 18 blocks. Yeah, frustrating, but it is what it is until we can get the quantum range set up. But now that we have that out of the way, we can head over to the nether. Actually, let's craft everything we need to craft here first, because we are going to need to, so like this isn't needed anymore. Or let's keep that there, it's not a big deal. What we are going to need is we're going to need to put down a few different items, which we're going to do that upstairs for right now. We're going to do that out here so that we utilize this area a little bit as well as the rest of our areas. So let's clear out this area. All right, so now that we're here, so what we can do is we can create some shafts, and then what we need to do is we need to create some, we need to put our water wheels down, which I don't believe is big enough right there. There we go. Okay, now it's just being difficult. All right. That should be fine, just like that. And then all we have to do is, if we, I believe, go up like this, and then take water. I like the look of that. So now we have rotational force. And now all we have to do is we can pull the stress units off like so. And then we can put this into a big, and then a small, another big, and then to a, can we get this to place small? And now that's where we can pull off of. So this can be our main area right here. And we're gonna put some boxes on these like that. We might have to speed it up, not a big deal. But I believe, can this be attached? We can attach this right here. We'll attach it right here for right now. Now I don't know if that's active. We can test it though, because we're gonna need some gold and some iron. So let's grab gold, copper, iron, like so. All right. And to make our wrench first, we should be able to toss that down. Okay, so what's, I don't believe, now if we toss gold down. Yes. All right, and to make our wrench, we need 3 of those. Let's throw 2 more down. This is very, very slow still, so we could speed this up with some more things. But so now that we have 2 of those, we should be able to craft this. So we need logs or planks, which we don't have any. So let's just go grab some logs. So these, so we can so then we can make one of these, and then we can make some sticks, and then we can make our wrench, which our wrench just make it easier for us to pick things up. And then so we need to make mechanical pipe, which takes copper plates. So I honestly want to speed this up some more so that we don't have to wait so long for this. And the way we do that is a simple but annoying way. So we're gonna need some large cog wheels. And then we are going to need some small cog wheels. And the way you do this is you can set this up just like so. So we'll build this up. So it goes, so you're supposed to, oh, I did that wrong. So it's supposed to go small, large, small, large. So we can, can you? Oh, you can change rotations like this. Okay, and then so large to large, that to large to small. This is gonna be wonky. This is gonna be wonky just for right now, because as you can see, it is speeding up. Like that. Can you? I don't believe you can layer one down like that, but if we go like so, we should be able to put one on the side like that, and then have that to be like that. Very, very wonky, I know. And what we can do is we can actually make some more of these. We can take this shaft, just run it right there, and we can put our press back on that, put our depot down. I'll clean this up, but now what we can do is we could take, say, 14 of these, throw those down, and it'll take half the time to craft those. So we're gonna need some pipe, which that makes 4. So now if we go here, we should be able to craft our pipe, which then we should be able to craft our mechanical pump. And now all we gotta do is craft our hose pulley, which is gonna take some dried kelp, which I believe we have a little bit of that, but it's also gonna take a copper casing, which can be done via, I wonder if we can make this like so. We don't have an axe. Let's make an axe real quick. I don't think you can right click this on here. Oh, you can. That's actually amazing. All right. And then so now we should be able to, we can almost make our hose pulley. We just need to get one more piece of copper. And then we also need to get some dried kelp, which I don't think dried kelp has an EMC value to it, which is annoying, but kelp, oh, we do not have dried kelp. And you get that. Okay, kelp has a EMC value to it, so we just need to grab some kelp real quick, which luckily we're surrounded by water, so we should be able to find some pretty fast. Which, I don't know this, I don't think this is it. This is just tall grass. But if we fly around, we should be able to find some. Oh, we're in a, not in the best place right there. So, ooh, lag. Ah, here we go. There we go, found some, nice. We can go home real quick. And we can sleep. And we can learn kelp, which that doesn't learn it, so I gotta figure out how that works. But then we can grab a stack of kelp, throw it in there, and then we can throw some of this stuff away that we don't need. We need 9 pieces so we can make a kelp block. Like so, and now we should be able to craft our hose pulley, just like so. And then now we're gonna want our ender tanks, like this. And then what we can do is we can go to the nether, which I don't know if I set up a waystone. If not, we're gonna grab a waystone. Nether, I did, nice. So, ooh, I have everything needed for that. So now that we have flight, that's going to make this actually a lot easier. We just need to find a exit. And so what we're going to do is, so there's a create. If you use a hose pulley in a block or a source of lava or anything else that is considered like 10,000 blocks or more, you can actually get infinite lava. So once we're stopped taking damage, we can go back. Actually, oop, we almost messed this up. So what we need to do is we need to claim this chunk. So if we go C, claim the chunk, have it always going. This should automatically always, and we can set this to, which is this keeping up, which it looks like this is keeping up. It doesn't look like it's taking any, so we should have infinite lava, should. Only thing I forgot to do was bring a waystone. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to go home and then hopefully be able to find our way back. All right, so we have found it. I'll put the waystone down. We go back to the house, which all I had to do is turn on my claimed chunks to show. It was a pretty simple way of doing things, but we have that now. So now we can dive into the rest of Pawa, which we will do real fast. It'll be super easy. Okay. So we have our lava, which we need that for future reasons. Because now what we can do, so to get into Pawa, what we need to do is get into these cables, which we're going to need a lot of iron. So what we can do is let's do iron. Actually, can I just... It's 147,000, but that will give us... Can you smelt iron blocks? You can't smelt iron blocks in this. Okay. Never mind. Let's grab a stack, throw that in there, grab some coal, throw that in there, and then, so now what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to create this, which we can create a little bit of this, just like so, which is the hard part, believe it or not. And we can create the cables that we need. So we have those. So we're just going to need to make some more iron bars. And then we are going to need to create the opposite cable of this, which is super easy. So if we go here, boom, we only crafted one. 48, put that back to that, craft that. I have 48 of each. We can toss those in there. I don't believe these will have, yeah, they do not. And then now we can craft one of these. Boom, now we have the energizing orb. And so what we need to do is, if we go to Pawa, we need to also craft some cables and this, which is just the beginning. We need to make one of these, which we can make some of those. We can make some of those. So then we have basic energy cables, and then we need to make another one of these and some more of these. And we have our first energizing rod, which that's like the basics to power. So now we can claim these, which we got a pitfall generator, a manual, and we have these items. But what we actually want to get into, so if we go at Pawa, we can get into thermo generators, which is what I wanted to get into. We can do our first thermo generator, which is like so. So we're gonna have to craft some of these. We need to craft more of these. We have 5 thermo generators. Give us 2 thermo generators, or actually, we need to make more of these. So we have 14, so we can make a few of these. So we need some more iron. We have that. Let's grab some more iron. Gonna have to automate some of these processes for sure. We're gonna need 2 of those. We're gonna start out with 2. Like so. And then I don't know where I want to set up my power at. I do want some in the base, so that's kind of where we're gonna go with this. And I'll show you how we're going to set this up. I'll set up in this room for now, and then we will move it in between episodes to a better location. So we aren't going to want it to, we can put our ender tank down like so. We don't have a bucket. We don't have iron on us either. So we're going to have to go back up and grab a bucket. We also are going to want to make a sink. How do you get terracotta by melting that? So pretty sure terracotta actually has a EMC value to it. It does, so we can just throw that in there. We can learn that, and we should be able to craft a sink, but we need a bucket of water. Boom, and now we have a sink, and what we need is some water or fluid pipes. Fluid pipe, which we can just use fluid pipes from the pipes mod. Now if we go back down to our base, and now that we have iron, because we didn't bring our bucket, so we're just going to make another bucket and grab the lava, put a lava source there, and then now all we need to do is take a, doesn't matter what type of block, we just need a block to place something on real quick. Take that there and then put that there also. And then we can take our water source, put that there, which is infinite water source, by the way. And then we can take this cable, pump it into here, and then these should start generating Fe once we open this up. And this is starting to generate, as water is being pumped in, it's starting to generate about 80 or 20 Fe a tick. So right there, that's 40 Fe a tick, and then we will have our cables right here, and so we can have power coming off wherever we need to. And if we want to, we can put this down right here, and we can start energizing things. But that will start giving us some power that we can use in one of my favorite ways with power. And this is just a starting version of it. In the future, we will get into better versions of this and automating, but I think we're gonna have to automate some ores first before we do all of that. So next episode we'll probably get into some smelting while we just have this generating very, very slowly, but it is generating 48 what is that, 48 EMC a tick. And then we want to look at it, so we have the source link, is there only, oh nope, I just saw it right there. So there is the, okay, so this does 64, which takes a lot of different, what's the Mark II, which does 2 items a second, which are double R's. So it's just a basic link plus, which is 4.9 million, plus 2 dark matter balls will give us the 2, which we actually could make that, I believe, we could pick up this one, which would upgrade us from that. And then we have a tier 3, which is red matter, tier 4, which is magenta, tier 5. It just keeps on going up, and then the infinite just takes the final star shards. Okay. So what we can do is we'll look into that, see if we can upgrade this a couple times. But the next episode, we're going to probably get into some automating of ores or moving our ME system. I think we're going to do automating of ores. And then we'll go from there. So I hope to see you guys in the next one.